Hey, thanks for joining us today. We hope you're doing well. We know that not everyone is doing well, especially in these crazy times that we're living in right now. And these are really hard times, and all of us have been infected in some way by this pandemic. So here at Northwest Christian Church, we're trying to help people, and we're helping to try to resource our community so that we can all be living well. We believe that God has given us resources, both physical, emotional, as well as spiritual, so that we can live this abundant life. And so we want to help people connect. We want to connect people to God, and we want to connect people to each other. And so we're having these Living Well chats, and I'm bringing in some very gifted, some very knowledgeable people, and they're dealing with some very specific areas that they deal with on a regular basis, especially living in these times of crisis. We think this will be really beneficial. So we want to encourage you, we want to give you some resources so that you can live well. Today I'm pleased to have Denise Brooks here. Denise and I go way back. She was actually my RA at George Fox when I first attended there. She has an MA in counseling. She also has a license in drug and alcohol counseling as well. She's worked in this field of addictions for the last 24 years as a counselor and spiritual care counselor. Prior to that, she worked with college students for 12 years. Denise is married to Kevin, who, despite the fact that he's an Orioles fan, is a real good guy. But he does very similar work. And they have 3 boys between the ages of 18 and 24, actually 16 and 24. And Denise commented that the best part of her job is to see people get their life back, and then they get into recovery. That's when they get their life back. So Denise, again, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
I know this is outside your comfort zone. Not everybody likes to do this, and I get that. So I really appreciate you being here for doing that.
Yeah.
And so I guess the first question I want to ask is about COVID-19 and how that's impacted recovery and how that's impacted people with abuse issues.
Yeah. So it's had a huge impact because we say addiction is a disease of isolation. And so COVID-19 tells everybody to stay socially distant. So we're telling people to isolate. Meetings, activities, things that people in recovery do to stay healthy, to connect, are all closed down. So it's having a huge impact. I know they've shown across the country that alcohol sales are up like 55%. And states like ours that have pot legal, they're still open and doing very good business.
Okay.
So those are huge challenges for people in recovery.
Right. So what happens if I think I'm drinking too much, or maybe I'm drinking too much, doing too much pot? I mean, what are some things I should be aware of, or what should I do if I find myself in that situation and I feel like I'm getting maybe just a little bit out of control?
Yeah. So there's a lot of online resources that are available. AA, we would always say go to AA. Well, now groups are not meeting, but they are meeting online. And people who are doing those are finding them really helpful. So almost all of the online resources, podcasts, recovery support things have transferred to a virtual element. And so you can access those talking to other people, not isolating. So doing whatever you can to stay engaged, stay busy, connecting with friends, connecting, if you know others in recovery, that's definitely helpful. Sure. If you've had a recovery program going, most likely you have a sponsor. Sometimes we've let those go, but again, reconnecting, reaching out, asking for help. Where I work, we are still open and accepting clients. I do inpatient addiction treatment. So we are still, we have many safeguards in place. We're taking temperatures. We're testing new clients who come in to see if they have COVID, isolating them until we get the tests back, and then they enter into the community. But there are still treatment services out there.
Sure. Okay.
So it's important that you not isolate and that you stay connected.
So if I say I didn't have a problem with abuse or any substance abuse, but now I'm a little bit concerned. I mean, how do I know? What are the indicators, or where do I think I might be having problems, or I'm going too far?
Yeah. So what we typically see is when drinking or using becomes more important to you, than other relationships. So you might start saying no to, it's not a get-together anymore, to a phone chat or to hanging out with someone you're living with, to going for a walk, to things that you would normally enjoy, and you would say no to those so you can drink or smoke or use. If your friends, family around you who know you are starting to question your use and say, wonder about it, that's probably an indication that it's not going so well.
I guess let me piggyback on that a little bit. So suppose I am a family member and I am concerned about a loved one, or what's the best way to approach them without making them defensive, or how do I help them get help or help them recognize that this is too much or that they might have an issue? Is there some specific things I can do as a friend or a family member?
The thing with addiction is often there's that denial, and lying, hiding, sneaking is also part of addiction. So if it is truly becoming substance abuse or addiction, you can ask. People are not usually going to be real forthcoming on that. But definitely express your concern and do it in that manner of, I really care about you and this is what I'm seeing and it concerns me. At least it invites conversation about the topic, and the person can consider that. So you don't want to ignore it and just hope it'll go away.
Right.
It's not going to in this environment. It's really easy. There's so much loss happening. There's so much sadness, depression, pain as we see people struggling with health issues, job loss, just the loss of school, the loss of things we looked forward to, so many things.
Right.
And it's often easier to kind of numb out and just want to drink and not feel it. And so I think that's what is happening for a lot of people. I can't go out, I can't do this, I can't do that. They have takeout wine, they have, whatever, the liquor stores are still open.
Right.
So I can drink. And then it all feels better. But the long-term consequences of all that is.
So what are some healthy ways that I can maybe experience some of that without going to the addiction part?
Right. You mean experience alcohol?
No. Experience some good coping mechanisms
Right.
instead of the unhealthy coping mechanisms.
So for a lot of people, their day has lost its structure.
Sure.
If you've lost your job or you're not in school or whatever, you've lost structure. So creating structure in our lives is important. I go for a walk at this time. I cook here. I learn a new hobby, a new skill. I find a music instrument. I do art. There's online lessons. So engaging in life actively. This is a beautiful time in Oregon, so I can get out, I can garden, I can do my yard work, I can do a project. But so creating some healthy ways to focus our energy and our time.
Okay.
With people as much as we can.
Right.
And then just things that, how can I use this time well? Because we always say we never have enough time. And all of a sudden we're given all of this time and we don't know what to do with it.
But you're also saying that a set structure, so every day I do this or every Tuesday I do this. Do you say those are the things that are helpful as well?
Yeah, set structure I think is helpful for most of us. We work well within a structure. It can be overwhelming to wake up and have a whole day with nothing to do. And so if I know, 9 o'clock, I'll do housework. 10 o'clock, go for a walk. 11 o'clock, I'll do some reading. Whatever, however it works for you. But to create some structure in our day is helpful.
Okay.
And then thinking of ways to reach out to others. There's a lot of needs. We can't do a lot of face-to-face maybe, but I can call and connect with some people who I know are also struggling.
Right.
I can, you guys have a ton of things going here that
Sure.
people can engage in.
Okay.
So those are all things that service has always been a core part of recovery, and service gets us out of ourselves.
Right.
It's part of what we do as the body of Christ.
Right.
And
Okay.
yeah.
Well, the last question I would have is probably one of the most important ones for somebody who might be dealing with some addiction issues right now, and that is what kind of resources are available in our communities? We're along the 99 corridor, but also what are some resources online that you would say?
Yeah.
You mentioned AA, but are some other practical things?
Right. So two things here. So if you have someone you're concerned about who is drinking, Al-Anon is a great resource.
Okay.
And they also are having online meetings right now. So that's for friends or family members of someone who is addicted or is abusing substances.
If I'm not sure whether they're addicted, can I go there? Because I want to get some questions answered, and
Yep.
they'll help kind of counsel me on that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And again, they would do online meetings, and it's just all family members or friends. And so you hear your story repeated other times, they're good resources.
Okay.
Like in Portland, there's the Alano Club, which has meetings throughout the day, and that is just their focus. They're a recovery house. Again, they have online meetings at this time, and they've got resources. You know, Hazelden here in town, you can go to their website, hazeldenbettyford.org.
Okay.
They've got a lot of online resources. So there's podcasts, there's people's stories, there's meetings. Right now, you can go to a virtual meeting in New York, in California, wherever.
Okay.
So, you know, if the anonymity thing, you know, I don't want people to know, you know, you can drop in on a Zoom meeting in another state, and you're not going to be known. So if that's a fear initially, you know, you can do a lot online.
Okay.
You know, read the big book. Again, it's a great resource. The NA book, the big book, the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. There's a lot of recovery material out there. And
Are
again,
those also online?
yeah, Hazelden has a publishing place that does all recovery materials.
Okay.
But yeah, you could just, again, Google anything. So big book,
Sure.
online. Celebrate Recovery for, you know, those who have faith-based 12-step. There's a meeting in Sherwood right now. Again, it's not meeting live. And I looked, I'm not sure if they are doing a virtual one right now.
We're looking at trying to do that here, so that's what we're exploring right now.
Awesome, yeah. So again, Celebrate Recovery is a great support for people with faith.
Great. I think we'll also put a list of those resources, attach that to that, and then we'll make it available at the church office too. And if they can, maybe we can put Hazelden on there for some of the publishing things as well. Would that be okay?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else that we've not covered? You thought, man, I hope people hear this part of it, or I want them to hear this more than anything else. Is there something that you would wrap it up with?
You know, it's so important that you realize that you're not alone. And again, addiction thrives in isolation and secrecy. And so if it has been a struggle for someone, I would just want them to hear, ask for help, reach out. You are not alone. There are so many people right now that are really struggling. We are full. And there is intensive outpatient services that are virtual right now that for someone who, you know, they might not need inpatient treatment, but they've got time, and this has been a challenge area for them for quite a while. You know, yeah, insurances often cover that if they're still having some insurance.
Okay.
And outpatient is a great support and provides, again, some structure as well as some good tools.
That's great. You're not alone. There's resources out there, so ask for help and you'll get some help.
Yep.
All right. Well, Denise, thanks again. I appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
And I know it's out of your comfort zone, but thanks for being willing to do this because there's so many at stake, right? And so we're part of a community of faith, and we're here to help.
Yep.
So, all right. Thank you very much.
Thanks.